Hey, so check it out, people. I have been reached out to so much about a little bit of the fine details, a little bit about what I have been up to. So instead of just like telling you, I'm working on review videos, I'm working on trip videos, I'm working on epic pursuit video, whatever my own fish epic pursuit video. Uh, but Curtis was asking me, some of you guys have been asking me, so I thought it'd be fun to have Curtis do a little interview, chat with him, so it's not just me getting after it. Um, so this is also part of an episode of Indian Rider Radio's podcast, but I got the video format, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what Curtis is talking to me about. Indian supplied us with earplugs. You'd think I'd put them on. Like, you'd think they would know what they're talking about, and maybe that's why they said, hey, here's some earplugs.
Why do I not see that happening?
I don't know. I'm scared I won't be able to hear anything else.
Jesus.
All right, so you ready to kick this off?
I am. Let's do this thing in 3, 2, 1. Hi, guys. Welcome back. It is Indian Rider Radio hanging out on YouTube with none other than Ridingfish. And this guy has had a busy schedule, so we're going to start at the beginning. Okay. First, you're back in Minnesota after a long week. I mean, you guys did a lot of running around and you got to put some miles on a motorcycle.
Yeah. So how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go back to like?
Well, let's start going into. I've talked to some of the other ambassadors recently about their experience in Temecula. So let's start with that. Yeah. How did that go?
First of all, I get an email one day and it says, would you be interested in being part of this pursuit ride?
Silly question.
You should have already signed me up, Chelsea. Like, we already know.
Right. Yeah.
And then they say, well, we'll be taking pictures and stuff. And I instantly made sure my gym membership works.
There you go. Good. Am I still eligible? Yeah. Can I drop a pound or two? All right.
Yeah. 15 pounds later, I'm ready to roll out to Temecula. I get the pleasure to share a flight with no other than Amy. And so that was
I wondered if that's how you guys managed to run into one another. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We were on the exact same flight. We were sitting in different parts of the cabin, if we may start there. But, I told her Indian must have a favorite.
Hey, man.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I tried to save you a seat, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with that guy anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Have a good trip.
Yeah, have a good one. Jeez Louise.
I'm sure of it.
But yeah, really though, we flew into Temecula. It's an experience that I can say I've never lived.
Right.
I was like, where's a box? Somebody give me something to carry. There's no reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
So, but we meet up, we see this. By the way, I got video of everything, so I'm going to be producing some fun. I think they're fun, right? I mean, I lived it, so I have like this really idea of what I'm going to do. I'm really excited to see what the other creators are going to do with their content, because there were some good creators there. I mean, Ricky Not So Martin, Bearded Bobber, Lenore, Amy was running a camera for a while. I mean, everybody had phones. So
good.
So the time was great, but yeah, we go out there, we ride a pursuit. It's gonna be for like an experience, like the pursuit experience on an ownership side, what we think about the bike. So that was cool, because that my miles on the pursuit were very limited before this.
Yeah.
And people had been asking me like, when is your review coming out?
Right.
Yeah. I knew I was going to this, right? So I purposely wanted that raw thought. And I did ride it. We both know I jumped on it up in St. Paul, and it was a cold day. So I wanted to see some of the things that I knew Temecula wouldn't be able to replicate, like riding on cold weather.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you focused on in that video. So it makes sense. So when you get there, I understand it's pretty much drop your gear, let's get on the road, right? I mean, that's kind of how it worked. And
yeah, we flew in the first night, and it was find your room, go get some food, and go get some sleep.
Okay. Because we're busy all day tomorrow.
Basically, yeah. Kickdowns up. We're at like 9 a.m. and that was after we had already needed to eat.
Yeah.
Load up and then shoot rundown. They wanted to talk about routes, who we're following, what we're following. A couple of the ambassadors, it was 8 ambassadors there. A couple of them had assigned bikes for one reason or another.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I claimed the white one.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I get the white one. And Bearded goes, well, I'll take the one with bars. Whatever, if there's a one with bars, that's the one I want. I was like, all right,
Okay.
I want the white one.
All right.
Yeah, there was no white one.
There was no white one.
No, and there was one with bars.
Okay.
Yeah, it had cams and
Okay.
exhaust, and
Right.
I was like, "Bro, we should fight for this, to be honest." I
Right.
mean, it's only
Smart
fair,
guys.
but he said he licked it already, so it's his. Whatever, like, I'm not arguing with him. So we go and we rip out we go and we rip the day. Just great scenery. We couldn't have asked for, a better experience. Indian motorcycle, the crew, the brand amp, they were all there,
Good.
and yeah, it was another experience. How so I'm gonna fast forward. So we were at a spot where like they shut off the road. They had cops there, cut roads shut down, whatever.
Okay.
And I make the comment, "Hey, do you want me to just ride one of these home?
Yeah,
I don't
seriously.
have to be home till Tuesday. So if you want me to ride one back to Minnesota,
Yeah.
just saying,
Or
I'll bounce
Texas.
out on Sunday.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm supposed to fly out. I'll totally ride it home.
Let me talk.
Okay. And I know where this leads. So go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think by now everybody does. But what was funny is I was supposed to fly home on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm also supposed to work on Tuesday night.
Yeah. I
And he
remember.
goes, "Yeah, that might."
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "That might work, whatever. I'll talk to the brand amp, make sure we can get a media bike to Minnesota, no problem."
Okay.
Then nothing said.
Uh-oh.
So we finish our ride. I kind of don't bring anything up, whatever. Go to dinner, everything's great. And then after dinner, I'm sitting there and he goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, text this guy and tell him, yes, you want your bike to unload it because they're leaving really early in the morning." And I look at the time and it's like, wow, Minnesota, people are sleeping. I should probably talk to somebody about this, make sure
Yeah.
everybody's good with this.
Yeah.
So, like every good person, I said, okay, I'll text him. Yeah. So the next day, I talk to Miss Fish, and I say, "Hey,
Right.
good news.
Yep.
You're probably gonna be a little upset, but I'm gonna be late."
Yeah. A couple of extra hours that I have to fill. Yeah.
Yeah. So they give me a bike, which worked out great because I had that meet and greet in El Cajon.
Right. Now let's start there because you
Okay.
got to ride the bike down there
Yeah. So they give me the bike, right? So it's now mine, essentially,
for
in
now
so many words.
until a trailer rolls up in your driveway going, "Hey, you still got our motorcycle?"
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I
How
to
many
take that
miles are on this? And so El Cajon again, they came in clutch. So
Yeah.
Indian tells me like, "Hey, you can take this bike if you want, but you really have to get it serviced."
Okay.
So
Right.
figure out. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna text management at El Cajon because I'm gonna be there anyway.
You say, "Hey, Glenn, I'm rolling your place."
That's
Yeah,
right.
I know.
So I went down there, and they sure enough, they asked me to come in before opening on Saturday in fairness. So hopefully nobody didn't get their bike done because I had to get my oil change done.
Okay.
So they called me and they're like, "Hey, we can accommodate you, but we need you here before we open." The meet and greet
Okay.
was at like 9:30. They're like, "Hey, just can you be here by 8:30? Can you be here a little early or whatever?" So yeah, they accommodated me. You know what? Indian Motorcycle of El Cajon, they are a great dealership. Their management team, their sales team, parts, like everybody I deal with there has just is amazing. Really, they are.
And when we just randomly stopped in there, we got the warm welcome that you wouldn't have expected either because we come out, cameras blazing.
Yeah.
And they were cool with it, and they were
Yeah.
great, great people. I'll tell you what, that area down there is those dealerships just keep getting better and better.
Oh, hang on. I'm gonna piggyback this in a second. So
Go
hang on.
ahead.
So
Yeah, follow up.
so then on that Friday, I stop in because I'm going to grandma's. So if anybody doesn't know, grandma is in Southern California, and that was what I was doing Friday. So stop in there,
Okay.
talk to Christian, talk to Glenn, talk to the people. I literally gave them 30 minutes. I was like, I'm getting in and getting out, and I got to hit the road to go to grandma's because, when you're 97, you call it a night early, right?
Yes, yes, you do.
So
Hell, when you do that at 60, don't worry about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I run down to I visit with them real quick. I'm surprised they have 2 scouts on the floor, brand new, ready to be purchased, which is,
Kind of
unheard
rare
of.
these days. Kind of rare these days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I also make an announcement, Bearded Bobber was gonna meet me for the meet and greet.
Yep.
Ricky Bobber was meeting me for the meet and greet, and then not so Ricky Martin or Ricky, not so Martin. What in the hell just happened?
Huh?
Ricky, not so Martin. Yeah, a guy of that caliber,
Yeah,
my brain just kind of like fries a little, but
sure.
he decided he was going to come and hang too. I couldn't freaking believe it.
That's awesome. But now
Yeah,
was he up in Temecula as well?
he was. Yeah.
Okay, so did he take off with one of their bikes as well?
He had a loaner bike for the weekend.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
It was a pursuit, yes,
Yeah.
but he didn't like ride home.
Oh,
He
okay.
probably should have pushed for it. They may have let him. You never know, but
Nevertheless, though, you got to hang out with those 3 powerhouses, yourself, the guys at El Cajon, and you had a pretty good turnout from what I saw.
yeah, there was a great turnout. I'm not, I didn't really head count, and I was really just visiting with the people.
Sure, of course.
Um, but yeah, it was great. Just the conversation, the visit, the fun.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a good time. So
yeah.
a couple bikes. I met a few people with pursuits on order. We talked about
Okay.
that. They were pretty excited because Ricky and I were both on pursuits, so they were getting a good look at them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then Ricky Bobber, has a pretty good scout bobber and scout following.
Oh,
So
absolutely, yeah.
a bunch. There's a YouTuber. Her name is like Doctor Dot Beer Dot Bobber,
Okay.
and I guess she loves bobbers and she loves
That's
beer,
okay.
and she's a doctor.
Can't go wrong.
No, so that
Yeah,
she was there, so that was really
trifecta.
yeah, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
So we do this whole thing, and El Cajon is the greatest hosts that they could have been. You can't ask for more. I mean, they've fed us breakfast and coffee, and like we had all the energy.
good.
What we didn't have was real energy. So and it was actually me. I raised my hand and I said, "Hey guys, I know we were supposed to do a few hundred miles today as like a fun ride.
Who's
I
in, who's not? Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm out.
yeah,
I go, I have to ride home, and I would love to hang with you, but so here's the deal. Let's ride to food. Let's go get some dinner or lunch or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
I'm down for hanging. I said, but if I put in 7, 8 hours on the bike today, knowing I got to start off tomorrow morning really early for
yeah.
1,900 miles ahead of me, I said I would be making kind of a bad decision.
That would be a bad decision. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
would.
so
Yeah.
so it's on me. I think everybody else was game for it. I'm the one that kind of like stopped it.
Mhm.
But at that point, um, Ricky Bobber says, "Oh, well, you know who my home dealership is?" And I was like, "Indy
Not off the
Motorcycle
top
San
of my
Diego?"
head, but
Yeah. So we run up, we end up going, "Okay, well, let's go hang out at Indy Motorcycle San Diego. Just stop in."
sure.
Right?
Yeah,
And we stop in, and they were I don't know how Southern California got 2 great dealerships 15 minutes from each other, 20 minutes, whatever it is.
right. Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't freaking believe it, how amazing these 2 dealerships. I mean, we hear people complain about dealerships
Mhm.
sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
all the brands, all the makes, all the models.
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
Yeah,
across the board.
yeah. If it's boats, RVs, or motorcycles, cars.
I'll throw in a little trivia thing for you right there. That if you ask modern consumers to describe their worst customer experience, 80 some percent of those will be a dealership experience that they had.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
those 80%, they're not in San Diego or El Cajon, let me
No,
tell
they're
you.
not. No, they're really not. You
God,
know,
they're like, I mean, for their motorcycle, that is. I mean, these guys, these dealerships are great. So we meet up, we hang out, we end up having food just delivered to the dealership. We literally just hung out with these guys.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And
So
what did you and Angel, the hostess with the mostest, I mean, she does a great job down there.
Angel and Emma, they are
Yeah.
amazing,
Aren't they a great
amazing
yeah.
people, and I cannot express to you how generous and amazing people they are. So, I supported the cause and got some t-shirts and,
That way.
walked out with some stuff. So that was fun.
Cool. But
Um,
then it's finally circled. It's time now to head home.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
So I do ride actually with the guys for a
okay.
while. We ride up to Julian, California,
Oh, nice. That's a
which
nice area.
just
Yeah.
so happens my dad has a house there.
Well, go figure.
So I swing in and I visit Pops for a couple hours,
Okay.
and then I make the I don't know, whatever 100-mile or whatever ride is, a little less, like 75 miles. I don't know what it is,
Right.
to grandma's,
Okay.
visit with grandma, spend the night with grandma. And yeah, I got up early and I started.
And hit bricks. Yeah.
Yeah. And and I needed to be home soon.
Well, you
So
now one of the things I found too cool when we were watching you come across there on social media is you got to that first stop in Gila Bend, Arizona, after coming out of the El Centro area, right?
yeah,
And you had stretched that fuel tank right down to the limit. You couldn't breathe hard, and that would work. Yeah,
truth be told, so I was all of all the highway speeds, right?
sure.
And a little headwind, and so I'm like, I didn't search like where's the nearest gas station, right?
Okay,
But there was a turnoff, an intersection. You could tell it was a major corridor. So I'm like, there's gonna be something there.
sure.
And the turn, I'm gonna use fictional numbers for a minute, but it was like 100 miles to the turn, and my range was 120 miles or whatever. So I'm like, no big deal. Throttle down, just full bore.
Bang.
And I started watching them both tick down together, right? So they're like tick, 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 tick the wrong way.
Oh my,
Well, eventually my range is less than the
you're
miles to
just
my turn.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
now I do okay. So the nice Indian motorcycle GPS that has the, search for nearest gas station on route, whatever.
right.
There's nothing. I was right. That was the next one. It's not too often that I do this, but I slowed the hell down.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, there are
I
occasions, I suppose. Yeah, if you
yeah,
had to,
and
that would be
I was like next I didn't take it out of sport mode, so I wasn't that
okay.
desperate.
All right. Well,
But I did drop the RPMs cruising speed to less than 3,000, barely, like probably like 2,999,
right. Yeah.
on
And
sale
rode
now
it
for the
high and
next
rode it
30
in the
minutes.
highest gear you could.
Yeah, I was in sixth gear, slowed it down. So I was maybe doing 70-ish,
Ish.
69 or 70. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever 2,999 RPMs is what I was at.
All right.
But I mean, that's a lot different than the 35 or 38 that I was ripping before that.
Also true. Yeah.
But yeah, I came in with less than like I mean, and by the way,
Yeah.
like that was all of it.
How
So
long had the light been on?
um oh, this is actually an interesting conversation. We'll talk about this in my videos.
Yeah.
But they read that newest flash update for Challenger, they're saying, well, that's the
Yes.
same thing that this Pursuit has.
Out of the
And they
gate.
said that it fixes the gas gauge.
Really?
And I agree that it probably was. It was very accurate.
It would have to be because and anybody else in that condition would have fallen. You'd have been out.
Well,
Yeah.
my Challenger's low fuel light comes on when I have 2 gallons in it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so
Mine about the same. About 1.8
yeah, well,
gallons
this
in there.
one and they're supposed to come on with 1 gallon.
Okay.
That's what the book says.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I even thought like, well, the low fuel light's gonna come on. I'm probably gonna have 2 gallons. I'll be straight. Like, you can't trust these fuel ranges. No, I think
Okay.
it was spot on. I
Well,
got pretty lucky. If I hadn't slowed down, I would have ran out. And
but
so I did the
yeah.
math, and I think it was about 17 miles that the low fuel I had been on.
Okay.
So, and I had 1/4 of a gallon left. So, I mean, yeah, it might have been off just a little, but it also wasn't fair because I slowed down. So my mileage was changing pretty drastically.
True. Yeah.
But I thought it was so from then on, I was just like, whatever this gas gauge says, I kind of trust it,
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
where my Challenger, when the low fuel light comes on, I'm like, I got like 60
Yeah.
miles.
I got all day yet. No
Yeah, I got
worries.
like 75 miles if I chill out. So
Right.
so I
Oh, man.
truth be told, I've run out of fuel a few times on motorcycles. Not on the Challenger or the Indian, but it's happened.
Haven't we all? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
how did this happen? Where am I?
Yeah, it's like, that shit is wrong. Well, I listened to it the whole way home. I listened to it. So
So, all right, then now you're out on the open road. You and I talked when you were traveling that it was kind of cold, uncomfortable in some spots. But tell me about actually putting time in the seat on that bike, especially because you've already been on a Challenger a long time, 30,000 plus miles.
yep.
So, what is this one all about?
So you know what? There's some ergonomic differences between the Challenger and the Pursuit.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was on a premium, so I had the heated seat and stuff. Which,
Okay.
by the way, the reason why I went south was because you guys had snow. But anyway,
Yeah. God, did
just throwing that out there. I probably would have been stopping at your house.
that's fine too.
Yeah,
But
you, you,
you wouldn't have
probably
liked it.
ordered.
You wouldn't have liked it from roughly Canyon City up. You would have had no fun at all.
So I go south.
All right.
The bike is amazing. There's some things I don't like about it. I don't want to give them all away. There is a
Sure.
few things I don't like about it.
Okay. And you're
Um,
going to talk about those in the video then.
oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I will like spoiler alert, they're super easy fixes.
Okay. All right.
So, but the seat, yeah, it's a little closer. It's not so like not as stretched out as you are on the Challenger.
Okay.
It's really clear why I believe it is. It looks like they gave the passenger that little bit of space.
Absolutely. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Sure.
Yeah.
Just
So
want to
they
make sure.
pushed me up, maybe an inch. And then the padding in the Roadmaster and the padding in the Pursuit's backrests
Yeah.
on the trunk.
Yeah.
The Pursuit is like probably like almost a half inch less padding. So
Hmm.
the people that are saying these are exactly the same, they're not actually. They
Right.
are
Right.
different.
Well, even on the Roadmaster, originally, one of the selling points that motorcycle had was the back seat actually offered more room, you
Okay.
know, and it was wider. It was a little more plush than what they might find across the street. And I think that that was something that they protected even in some of these aftermarket or even in the accessorizing seats that they built, right? They've always tried to make sure that the passenger accommodation, especially on the tours, was worth it.
Yeah. And I
And
think they did that.
yeah,
I
good,
think they kept that
good.
that style. That's one of the biggest things I noticed
Hmm.
because you do know I love my room coming from Vic. So
Right. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
didn't really notice it when I was in St. Paul, but I was very focused on, wind protection that day. So
Yeah. Right.
speaking of wind
Important.
protection, there's plenty of wind protection.
Okay.
And I'll talk about this more in a video too and like show some examples. But
Yeah.
um, some people are saying, hey, these pursuits are really hot, right? When you're on them, they're saying the lowers, you're getting a lot of heat from.
Okay.
So they might be right, actually. The reason is they're not opening those hard lowers vents correctly, which is really weird to say that.
Yeah.
But there's ways, like if you open them full bore, it doesn't really. It
I'll change
helps.
the thing. Yeah. Same on my Roadmaster. Throw them all the way open, almost no difference. Aim them at the motor,
Exactly.
altogether different. Yeah.
Exactly. You open them 10% instead
Right.
of that parallel to the bike,
Right.
and it just streamlines the air, cools, not so much the motor, maybe, but I think it just gives it an exit point instead of it just sitting
Correct.
there spiraling around your legs.
Yep. Well, and
So
you can actually help your bike out a little bit, especially for the air cooled models, and for that matter, with the ones with the radiators. It's just by forcing more air back towards the motor itself.
yeah.
Let the bike work as hard. You know.
Yeah, I was even thinking not even so much like helping the bike. It's just that the motor, if you have a bubble there,
Right. You'll feel
the
fast
heat is
much
going to
better.
sit there.
Sure.
But if you open it wide up, it gets turbulent, right?
Right.
But it will just sit there and spin per se because you have hard lowers, you got your
Yeah.
legs, you
Yep.
got all this stuff. So if you don't, anyway, the
Yeah.
reason why I even say that that's a thing is because at first I was like, holy shit, these don't work.
Right.
I was like, yeah, everything that people are saying is
Yeah.
true.
I had to figure it out too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little learning curve to that. So that was,
Wish-
and I'm happy to tell everybody now, but that's one little thing that I learned about this bike. So
Super cool. And now it's home with you, and you get to play with it for a little while, get to experience a little more. You are going to drop a video with all this kind of stuff in it soon, if not fairly soon, right?
yeah, so I'm having some technical difficulties right now in my studio. You're lucky you're getting this.
Oh, okay, good.
Um, but yeah, so
What we got?
I have to give it back sooner than later.
Okay.
Um, so I'm on bonus time right now with it.
Good.
I'm gonna ride tomorrow, so I won't even be in the studio tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna have some really fun things. Let me ask you your opinion, and I think this would be a good opinion. Anybody that's watched this video long enough to leave a comment, if this
Yeah,
will be on
absolutely.
whoever's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
How do you think I should show this experience of Temecula? Right. So we both know it's a good shoe, is big, and people
Yep.
have talked about it. And I
Yep.
think so. My idea is to like let people live what I lived.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, I think that I'm not the right guy to tell the story of how it worked out. That's
Okay.
not really, I'm not that great at that.
Sure.
Um,
I don't.
I think the bearded bobbers and the Ricky Not So Martins and the Lenores, they got those skills way better than I do.
Okay.
But I'm a
Storyteller skills.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think I'm an experience share. So, what is that even interesting? Should I not even? Because I mean, that's a huge edit, right? Like realistically, I mean, people may not understand. You have a good understanding of this, but
Yeah.
that's a huge edit.
That's a lot of work.
So, yeah, is that interesting? Do you think that's something that you'd be interested in seeing my experience?
Yes, because I asked people who have already been there, and I get different descriptions from both, you know,
Yeah.
and I expected that, but I would like to experience something like that with you.
Okay.
And because you can tell me the story all you want. I personally know the backstory. I want to see how it unfolds.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. And I also want to see you in the moment experiencing the motorcycle and the
There's
event,
gonna be a lot of the holy fuck, that's a drone in front of me.
right?
Are you good? I mean,
Knock yourself out.
yeah. I mean, already got the title to this. Like I have a pretty good description in my head of how I want it to go as long as so, I just got home. You know this.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went home, I went to work. We're shooting this.
Yep.
And so I haven't even got a chance to like double check my footage. So I hope that I mean, when did that be if
Yeah.
some of it didn't come out? But
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I think I would like to experience it with you. I am super glad that you got to do it. Man, you just blown it up, and you're one of these guys out there as an ambassador right now, making some noise. So I'm sure you're going to get noticed in the right places. But yeah, I want to see it through your eyes. That's what I
okay.
prefer. The story is great, and I appreciate that. And there are great storytellers out there, but you are an experiential guy. You're going to show
I
me what you did,
Yeah, I just think if I try to tell a story, I'm not going to tell a good story, right?
Oh,
I'm not going to, I tell a bedtime story so people fall asleep.
right?
But I think I'm gonna leave that to the pros. If
Okay,
people should leave a comment, people that are watching this,
yeah, please do. Yeah,
and tell me, like, do you wanna see my perception or
yeah,
my perspective of this? And
yeah.
it's gonna be a little different. I didn't have the camera rolling 24/7.
Okay.
I got a little bit of, like, instructional stuff, like, when they're telling us. So you're gonna really live it kinda like if you were in my shoes.
Oh, that'd be great.
I
Yeah,
think that's how I'm
yeah.
angling it. I don't know, man. It's
But
really different. It's different than I've ever experienced before,
oh,
and
I'm sure. I'm sure. But let's clarify though, this is not one of the Epic Pursuit episodes. This is ambassadors experiencing the motorcycle.
this is an ownership experience, let's
There you
call it like
go.
I
Okay,
think that's a good way of wording it.
that makes
This
perfect
is an
sense.
ownership experience on the pursuit,
Excellent. Good. Okay.
on the
Well,
Indian Pursuit, yeah.
you
And
know,
there was and by the way, they had all the not all the colors, but they
okay.
had both the standard and the premium. Oh, another spoiler alert. I'm not sure if this has made it public or not anyway, but I'll talk about
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Go
If
ahead.
you don't set the suspension correctly,
Yeah.
it is very noticeable.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Because you can put your weight in and it will dial in. Correct.
Well, apparently the guy in front of me
Yeah.
was like all of 150 pounds. Well, you and I both know I walk around about 225.
Yeah. Generally speaking.
So it was a little different. And I had forgot to like, pre-check checklist. I
Yeah.
forgot to double check the suspension.
Yep.
And I wrote it and it just felt different. I'm not gonna say it felt horrible, but it
No.
didn't feel as sporty, I think is maybe a good way. Like,
Well, no, with your weight on it, if it was set that light and then
yeah.
you add another 110 pounds, let's say even, it's going to wallow a little bit. It's going to be a little sluggish cornering. It's going to be a lot of those things that you
It's
would
just
notice right away.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's was it another little spoiler alert.
Cool.
So you gotta stay on top of your suspension, which we both know and this is one thing, right? How many people we know will set their bike up for a tour, right?
Mhm.
Two up with some luggage, but then
Okay.
they never set it back, which in that way you can live with that.
Sure.
It's a
Yeah.
little stiffer and a little uncomfortable, but if it's squishy,
Yeah.
it feels, I mean, it felt fine on some of the bumps, but then when
Yeah.
I'm cornering, I felt a little like, oh, this is a little different than I was expecting.
It's amazing to me what suspension rebound and what tire pressure can do for a monoshock rear suspension.
Yeah.
If you don't have those two elements dialed in very well, as good as that equipment is, you're not getting the most out of it. And if anything, you could make the bike non-responsive or less responsive, I guess, when you would need it most. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I make a point of doing that pretty much every time I ride. I check the pressure on that thing of
Well,
mine.
especially you guys with the air ride. I mean, because
Yeah, yeah,
like they naturally lose a little air over time.
absolutely. Yeah,
These pneumatic ones, they don't.
right.
So once you set it, you can set it and forget it.
Perfect.
But electric, adjustable, or whatever the hell you want
Yeah.
to call it,
Yeah.
you take advantage of it. I mean, if today's the day you're riding two up, set it for two up. If today's the day you're not, pull it back, you know?
There you go.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'm
it
excited.
is.
I'm excited to see it because I did ask Lady Rebel and I asked Mari Jimenez.
Yep.
I asked them both, what was the experience like? And I think the overwhelmed factor, limited how they could describe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were so overwhelmed, blown away by the experience. So living it with you, oh, I'm going to dig that. Absolutely, bring it on. Let's
Yeah.
do that thing.
I mean, we can assume, right? Like
Yeah,
somebody says, "Hey, I was in a motorcycle photo shoot and we shot, these videos,
yeah,
professional, right?"
yeah,
We all assume what that is.
right.
And it's everything we think, plus a little bit, and then to live it and be on this side of it,
Yeah,
to see it,
yeah,
to see a guy riding backwards on a motorcycle to get the right footage,
yeah.
it's really is a hell of an experience that
Good.
yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it from your point of view. That's for sure. Sounds like he's been busy. More information on the pursuit and a whole lot of other things coming up. Fish, thanks for hanging out with me today. And I know you're going to share this on your YouTube channel. So hey, if you're a YouTube subscriber with him, come by and say hi to me too.
Yeah, check that guy out right there. Yeah.
I need a little help.
Oh, what is it? Indian Rider Radio
Indian
on
Rider Radio.
YouTube?
It's fun.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of new stuff on there on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you're rolling just you're doing a lot of cool interviews. You're talking to a lot of, big people. Yeah,
Having fun. Having
yeah,
fun.
it is.
Yeah,
I got to download a few and listen to them on airplanes
good.
and yeah.
Good. Well, we got Chelsea, we've got Mari, we've got Lady Rebel, we've got a couple of other
Wait,
podcasts.
is your Mari video up already?
Well, it is for my Patreon audience.
Oh,
Yeah, if you're a Patreon
oh,
member,
oh, there we go.
you get early release stuff, bro. Yeah.
Oh
In
shit. I didn't
fact,
know.
almost with the exception maybe of the podcast episode itself, almost everything's going there first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for interviewing me, talking
My
about this.
pleasure.
I'm
glad
not
you
sure what we're all using out of this.
subscribe, notifications, like, smash, do it, all that, whatever.
Hey, Curtis said it.
Yeah. And then
And go check out Indian Rider Radio. We don't know what the hell's happening. All right. But no matter what, leave a comment because I'm curious. Like Curtis and I are super good friends. So is he just like shooting smoke, saying like, "Oh yeah, we want to see your experience"? Because I've often thought that people may not want to. Like, I don't know.
okay. As soon as I knew you guys were going, let me explain this. As soon as I knew you were doing that, I went, man, I wonder what that's like.
Okay.
Okay. That's why I keep asking the question and only getting part of the answer. So seeing it happen will be fun. I would like that.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
man.
I still want everybody else's opinion too. But yeah,
Absolutely. Hit us up in the
I'm
comments.
hearing you.
Yeah. Hit me up in the comments. And of course, you can hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere else as well. I'm Curtis Sawyer with Indian Rider Radio. That's Ridingfish.